Good morning all, and welcome to Sunday Q&A. Well, January's shaping up to be an absolute winner, isn't it? On top of what is a distinct lack of jobs. We're getting enough. We're not doing too bad. But then they went and did this to the lorry. Absolutely shocking. Now, it's Saturday morning. This happened Thursday morning, so we've been trying to get it. The glass has been done on it yesterday. I'm going to go up there today and pray that it hasn't happened again. I found somewhere else to park it. It's quadrupling my parking fees on the lorry, so that might just be a temporary space until we can find something a bit more permanent. And then me and Al are going to heat gun the curtains today with some patches. I'll probably do a video. And then we'll take it from there. But I'm going to address it properly next week because we've got enough to discuss this week. And like I say, I've got about half hour before I've got to be at the yard. So I'm going to record this quickly. It'll take as long as it takes, isn't it? And then I'm going to go and then we'll do the full breakdown next week. But I just want to say quickly, thank you very much for all your support. I will go into what I think happened, why I think it happened, and the upshot of it all. So we'll cover all of the vandalism and the repair of the Mercedes Axor next week. But once again, thanks very much for your support. I'll let you know how it goes. Please, everyone, keep your fingers crossed that when I get up there, my windows are still intact. 600 quid. That's with a VAT. In fairness, I didn't think that was too bad, and they did it pretty quick, which I was kind of pleased about. Right, so, intro this week. Shane Hardy. I'm sorry about your infection. He went for an operation. Often the way, this is the problem. You go into a place that's, someone's sick. Where should we make them better? Let's take them to a building that's full of lots of really sick people. Kind of defies logic, that one, doesn't it? So, but I hope you're feeling better, mate, and I hope you get yourself back up and running soon. And also, anyone who I did the video last week about Solo, my mate Nick, his dog's not very well, and he's trying to crowdfund some what would you call it, making it better. Basically, there is a Solo video update. Like I say, you can see how the dog's getting on. Please watch, and if you can help out, it's appreciated. So the main video this week was I tried to work out a way of explaining how because everyone turns around and says you're going to make you talk to 10 different people, they give you 10 different answers of how much money you're going to make on the courier exchange. And I mean, I always told the truth how much money I was making and what you could do and all that kind of stuff, but that's dependent on me and where I am and where I'm based and what van I've got and how lucky I am and how early I get. There's an awful lot to it. So I kind of tried to, rather than you guys saying, rather than having to listen to somebody else to find out how much money you can make if you're on a courier exchange, I tried to show a way where you could actually work it out. You're going, okay, well, if I'm going to make this much money, everybody would be doing it. If it's going to make this much money, nobody would be doing it. And the truth lies somewhere in between. And Shane Hardy, who's on the mend, I hope, says, Pete, you forgot the timestamp. Yeah, I forget. I forget everything. You like the video. Where's the usual stumbling, bumbling videos we all know and love? Well, here's one today. Yeah, don't worry, mate. They're never far away. Longer Finger says, Pete, a lot of your early videos threw out big money numbers and got people interested. I know that's probably the case, but it was never my intention. All I've ever done is be completely transparent with people about how it works for me. And I always said all the way along, this is how it works for me. It might not be like that for you. And also, I've also said the amount of drivers that when we try to do the very badly, the Van Gogh network thing, yeah, see, bumbling videos showing you that. Everybody said who joined the network thing, yeah, I'm going to work every hour God sends. I'm going to be up at 5 in the morning. I'm going to be working until midnight. And then you'd ring them at 9 and go, you ain't logged onto the app yet. He said, no, I'm just going to take my kids to school and have some breakfast. You ain't going to make the kind of money then, are you? Donny Hutton says, Donny Hutton seems to be saying a lot more. Donny, welcome to the channel, mate. Good to hear from him. He's pleased. He says he likes the videos. The human advice, he says, seems honest to me. He said, I'm currently doing Uber and Just Eat food delivery, but I want to earn more and saw the courier exchange as a potential option. And wanting to save for van life and build my business plus. He says, I was currently homeless, so in the parents' spare room, so this might be a good time to join in. I live in the southeast near Maidstone and the Isle of Sheppey. Is it a good location for pickups and final ed jobs of shift? I'm happy to tramp out 4 days a week, but might get to see more places in the UK this way too. Maidstone, not the best, not the worst. It's somewhere in the middle. Where I live is probably one of the best places, I would say, in the country. Moving up that little triangle towards Derby, Coventry, that kind of thing. I also think there's a lot of work in Manchester, Liverpool, that Preston way. But you're not in Exeter, and you're not in the middle of Wales, and you're not in Lincoln. So it's not the best, not the worst, and particularly if you're prepared to tramp, it will work. So, but like I say, if you've got any problems, any questions, keep throwing it at us. I'll answer it if I can, or otherwise we'll get the wise guys onto it. So chances are we'll get the wise guys onto it. If when you do decide to have a go with it, good luck. He said, I'm planning on doing Monday to Thursday, a sleep out when I do. Yeah, that does make sense, because the advantage you've got is you can pick up your next job, like, you know. Stella Mohammedi says, I am based in the Midlands. Would you recommend starting with an 18-ton ADR compliant truck? Can you charge more for ADR jobs? I would say if you've got the ADR, have it. Because yes, you can charge more for ADR jobs. They struggle to get them off, and if you're in the right place, right time, and needs to be done in a hurry, you'll get good money for it. But if you're not ADR compliant, I wouldn't bother going and getting it. I would just start with an 18-ton truck. As Daniel, transport manager, CPO transport manager, says, why would you want to drive around with a bomb in the back of your vehicle? Which is effectively what you're signing up for. Although it's not really, it's batteries or some alcohol. But yeah, I would say if you've got the ADR, yes, use it. If you haven't got the ADR, I don't know if it's worth bothering going for. Unless there's somewhere particularly near you that wants a lot of ADR. Chris Jones says, absolutely spot on, Pete. Thank you very much, Chris. He says you might do a £500 job, but then after the fuel, AdBlue, wear and tear, someone cutting your curtains and smashing your windows, and other costs, you'll probably 250 to 200 takeover. That's not every day. The other problem with big haulage companies is they use the CX. They just want to scrape something on a backload, charging £100 back from Manchester to London. They don't care as they have huge bank balances. Just as long as they get something, the CX can be the worst enemy at times. But I swear, by me personally, I think it's the best haulage platform going at times. It does get saturated. Yeah, I mean, that is a point. I would say that if you've got your own customers and you've got a run from London to Manchester, and you know you're going to get 600 quid, 800 quid up there, could be done. You could charge them £4 a mile, £5 a mile. If they're daft enough to pay it, you can get it. And then you think, well, on the way home, there's a job going up. If I get my diesel money out of it. Having said that, I would say most people that do work it on a regular basis are not going to charge that kind of money. They would probably go, well, I know what that job sells for. I'm going to put a punt in for 50 quid less than the lowest bid. That way, if it's a real job and not a magic job, then I can guarantee that I'm going to get it. And if it's not, then don't matter. I lost nothing. TC Services says, good video, Pete. It says you can earn £500 a day, but there are many factors which have to go right in your favour. You're dead right. It really is all the ducks in a row, everything, ultra lucky. I was finished and oh my God, there's a job opposite. Or the guys just said, can I take something back? We had that on Friday, but that's own customers, different. He says, what size van do you have? Small, yeah, he said, what size van do you have? Small, short wheelbase van, between 150 and 250 a day, but also if you live in an area that makes a big difference. Plus the CX every day is different. What you earn one day may be decent, the next day you could earn half what you earned the previous day, and this is all true. This is the thing about being self-employed. You have no guarantees. The money does not go in your bank account. Oh, by the way, big shout out to the child. I never told you she's got a job. She got paid. I didn't see any of it, but there you go. JT Courier says, my target is 250 a day. I normally hit it. I've hit just over 500 a few times, but that is tramping out, all the jobs falling in line, and that's rare. He's in the CX in a small van. Yeah, that is rare. Like I say, it only happened to us on the firm once, where a guy managed to get from London, I think it was London to Newcastle, and then managed to get Newcastle to London back twice. And so in the space of a day and a morning, he got around about 500 quid. Because the second one didn't have to be tipped the next day. The second one was like a backload, so it was fine. Addy the real slim Shady. I've just worked that one out. Addy the real slim Addy, as opposed to Shady. Oh yeah. That's me super quick, you see. I mate. My nickname, Flash. Huh? He said, I've currently seen a driver with a CXID of 241404. Does this tell you that there are a large amount of drivers out there? Like I say, a lot. We have the conveyor belt of fools, don't we? Where a lot of them will join and then they will leave. And then there are a lot on there that have been on there a long time. My mate had a CX number of 800. 850, but I don't think he's on it anymore. Our CX number is 1500. And that actually makes me feel pretty good to know that my CX number is actually now starting to become an old one. I suppose I've been doing it about 4 or 5 years, but yeah, it also shows that in the space of 4 or 5 years, they've gone up, they've taken over like 10,000. Is that right? I know, 100,000 subscriptions. That's a lot. If only there was another platform out there. Something might be happening. I had an email from a guy I got to speak to him today. Keep me in the loop. Andrew Gullen says, the mass and variable marketplace, that is a courier, that didn't work out for me. Too high setup costs with a relatively high break-even point per mile. That worst case scenario meant that to make any good money, I would have to be finding work to drive 60,000 miles a year. Therefore, I didn't take the risk. I'll be honest with you, my mate Nick, Simple Brian, rather, said, when I started back in the day, he said, if you want to earn money in this game, you have got to be looking at driving 60 to 70,000 miles a year. That's the kind of mileage you need to be doing if you want to bring in reasonable dough. So that's something else to consider there. Steve at SDC Services says, money is rubbish. Some rate 7 years ago, too many cowboys and chipper drivers. Why do I do it? Simple. I like driving. I don't like people, otherwise I'd drive a bus. Fair enough, my friend. Nady A says, hello, Pete. You don't do Amazon Relay. The Amazon Relay platform is free, but it's quiet at the moment. HX demand too much money to get the jobs on their platform. Thanks for the videos. Everyone takes their own way. And finally, on the philosophy side of things, Teddy S was very pleased about the fact that Descartes, he was a clever guy. He was wrong. He was wrong. Most of them are wrong. Bertrand Russell once wrote a book about that fact, proving that 1 and 1 equaled 2. He published it, and within a week, a turnaround, a guy said, yeah, but the problem is the entire book is based on a totally erroneous premise that you come up with in chapter 1. Dismiss the entire book within a week of it coming out like that. Yeah, but if you say that, I can't remember what it was, well, that makes that and that right. Oh, that's not right. So your whole book's nonsense. Schoolboy area, you see. And what was that? Godzilla's on it. It says Black and Decker, or whatever his name was, who had a mate who come up with a cat in a box that doesn't exist. From my experience, I can say it does, and I will let you know when you try to close the box. Yeah, they fight them things. I know, I've got 4 of them, but not for long. If you don't make air holes, it will show you. If you don't judge things, yeah, Mrs. If you don't judge things right, then your quantum theory will be skew-whiffed. Let's do a long post of crushing reality and money on the CX. Yeah, the cat in the boxing, mate, that's the other P. That's the physics mob. But don't get involved in that. So, yeah, uncertainty principle. I'm not sure about it, really. That's the thing. I can never understand whether I've never worked out whether I'm fairly indecisive or really indecisive. And finally on this one, Belsization says, I've grown a beard in the time it took you to explain the French guy. That means you'll look like one of the Greek guys. There was Socrates, then there was Socrates taught Plato, Plato taught Aristotle, Aristotle taught Alexander the Great, and Alexander the Great conquered the whole world by the age of 24. And we're sitting here thinking, can I make money driving a van? I kind of think we're going for very low expectations. And as the quote says, Alexander looked at the breadth of his domain and wept, for there was nothing left to conquer. Right, that's all the highbrow stuff out of the way. Taco heads. Domain name guy again. Hello, mate. How you doing? Oh, yeah. I'll come back to that in a bit. Work time directive breaks infringements. I used to combine my driving time, 45 minutes, therefore 4.5 hour driving time, with 30 minutes work time directive. So basically, he's saying that within the first 6 hours, he would stop for 3/4 of an hour. And if you do that, you're fine. That's what Daniel says. If you stop for 3/4 of an hour, drive 4.5 hours, stop. And that way you get your 45 minutes, which covers your braking for the next 6 hours, and also all your driving time is cleared. do the next bit and go. It don't work like that on the exchange. One job might take you 2 hours, and then you're there, and then you're not. You've just got to be on top of it. In fairness, it's not, the work time directory thing isn't really a big deal. It's the driving I'm more concerned about, and that one we're green on again this week, I'm pleased to say. So, yeah, we'll come back to you in a minute to main going as well. Paul Carruthers says, oh, how's this for a good one? He says, we've had a guy who did not use his car for 3 days. Vosa has picked, now he's making, the ministry's onto it, he's making the excuse for not doing manual entry as I don't know how to. Now, bearing in mind that you have to do your CPC training before you can drive an HGV, that excuse is out the window now. He says, you don't know how to. He said, that was A, I don't know how to. B, my daughter nicked his car and he found it by a toy box. Doesn't work as an excuse. Sad thing is, he thinks he's going to get away with it, driving 36 hours, driving no card and no manual record. He's in for a nasty surprise. My company maxes out every week and they do it by the book. Personally, I've had enough after 29 years. Mate, maybe it's time for you to go from the small van, HGV to small van. It's a video on it. There you go. Right. I'm very pleased to say the Courier Driver Awards 2023 are still getting people coming in on it. Remember, the categories they stand at the moment, and there's a new one added. Worst job, most chaotic wheels fell off job. Most unbelievable return. Either I can't believe I got that kind of money for that distance, or I can't believe that actually I was picking up from the place opposite. Most convoluted on-site directions, or most convoluted directions to get to site. Where am I going? You're going to Reading. Yeah, I need a bit more than that, please. Best paying job, strangest load. And Domain Name Guy's come up with a few. He said more categories, best burger van, most expensive breakfast sandwich or coffee, that would be a good one. Most multi-drop stops in a day. Well, the Amazon mob have already won that one. Biggest fine for most unusual infringement, quickest tip. I'm going to go with best burger van for that one. And by the way, Godzillas, I'll take one off you as well, because I just wanted, to Steve and Godzillas and Domain Name Guy guys who comment all the time. They kind of are the wise guys, and that's not everybody out there. I love you all dearly, but these guys crop up all the time. I wouldn't mind. So if you want to pick one of them, Godzillas, we'll dedicate an award to you. Just want to. That's all. No reason. So there's a new award, but on so there's a new award now. Best burger van. So if you've got the best, tastiest burger van, or convenient, or it's got the lovely seats, or a view of the estuary, or something like that, let's have it. We might even give them a visit. If it wins, I might even go down and give them the award myself. Domain Name Guy says, it goes on, it says, an interesting feature you could add to your channel could be drivers' hobbies. Play the guitar, that kind of thing. He trades in stock market and crypto things. He's done a few videos out there, actually. I don't know if I can get to his channel. I'll see if I can. He did them for a while and then stopped. Drivers' hobbies. So we thank you very much, as always, for all your input. So we've got a new Courier Driver Award, which is Best Burger Man, and we've got a new potential section, Drivers' Hobbies. What do you do when you're stuck in a lay-by for 2 hours and you think, I'm looking for a job? Problem is, I find that if I'm looking for a job, I have to just focus on looking for a job. I can't do anything else. But if I'm on a 45-minute break, recently, sadly, I'm slowly working my way through Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Because I kind of like all that stuff. I like the spacey stuff. I was 7 when it came out, and the superhero stuff. The bloke in a cape punches another bloke in a cape. I'm also working my way through exploding helicopter films at the moment. I'm working my way through like Jason Statham's back catalogue. And let's face it, they're rubbish. I watched one last night. I spent most of my time watching it like this. Really? Really? But very watchable rubbish. Very enjoyable. I like Statham. He's got the right kind of hair. So hobbies that you do. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm watching the Clone Wars because I'm interested in the history. I work out. I start kind of understand what goes on with old Anakin and Obi-Wan, and how come I thought the Stormtroopers were the bad guys, and then how come they're the good guys in number 2. You kind of work out what's going on, and the funny, and yeah, there's all other stuff to it, But it's cartoons. It's kids' cartoons. Thing is 25 minutes. So if chances are my break is half an hour, it's 25 minutes, perfect. Put that on, watch a rubbishy cartoon. When it finishes, I'm good to go. But yeah, hobbies that you do that are much better, much more self-improving than watching nonsense. I didn't even get to drink that. Do you see that? I picked it up and then put it down again. Stupid. Things that might be helpful. Anyway. I've got to get on. I've got to go melt a curtain soon. The wise guys. So, this week, Mark Lee, he says, how do I get Mark? He says, sorry, mate, I misworded the question. No, you didn't misword the question. I probably read it wrong. I'm a moron. So I'll keep it simple. My question is about end users, maybe shippers as well, ULEZ and CAS charges. Given the choice between a Euro 5 van and a Euro 6 van going into the clean air zone, they're going to choose the Euro 6 van because they won't incur the charges or need to charge back on the Euro 6 vehicle. The downside is the owner of the Euro 6 won't be able to charge reimbursement when entering the zone. The way it works, Mark, is the shippers don't care. The shippers have a price on the job. Someone rings them up and they say, I want 4 pallets moved and I'm going to pay 150 quid for it. So they think, okay, well, I want to earn 50 quid out of that, so I need to, the most I can pay on that job's £100. So I'll put it on the exchange. They'll get bids in. Whether you've got Euro 5 or Euro 6 or whatever, they'll take the bid of the closest person with the best feedback who gets the closest to that money or under that money. There's a good chance that if they put in a low bid, they're going to take it because they'll earn more money. If they put in a very low bid, they might not take it because they might smell a rat. Then the problem with Euro 5 or Euro 6 is down to the person driving it. So if you put a quote in for 50 quid and they send you the job and then you drive into the zone, it costs you 30 quid to drive into the zone. It's your 30 quid. You've lost it. So you're only getting 20 quid for that job. So you have to be wise to these zones and be aware of them. If I put a quote in for Birmingham, if it says B38, I put in a normal quote. If it says B16, I put 60 quid on top. Or 50 quid on top, because I know that's how much the charge is. So that euro, then you've got to ask yourself the question, am I going into the zone every day, in which case it's cheaper for me to get a Euro 6 and not pay the tolls, or am I only going to go into the zone once in a blue moon, in which case it's cheaper for me to get a Euro 5, which is much cheaper to buy, and pay the tolls on the times when I go in. That's it in a nutshell. That's why we're on Euro 5. Euro 5 lorries have done the same kind of miles as Euro 6 lorries. They're half the price, and we aim not to go into the zones that much. Roche Ladar says, I have a logistics company that... Oh, right, this is for the wise guys. Roche, this is... Right, listen to this. I have a logistics company that cleared fruit and veg. I hire lorries from my sister company with a driver, and the business is simple. They collect importers' customers' shipments from the airport and bring them back to our warehouse from where our customers collect. Now, the issue is the VAT audit came up. They are saying we have to give... It's £260,000 worth of VAT back to HMRC, which claimed because the legislation says the other company should not have charged us VAT. Because the items were zero rated, which I find strange because I hired lorries from the other company rather than my sister company. They would still charge VAT, but the VAT officer is not agreeing. I see, saying ours is a long-term job, so according to legislation, we should not have paid the VAT, and all the claims we must pay back. It's very simple. We hire a lorry from them, which they send their driver and collect from the airport and deliver to our warehouse. Any good VAT specialist out there which I can hire to fight this case? I don't know that one. Yeah, it's a bit weird because if the goods are zero rated, but you're not. I agree with you. The goods might be zero rated, but you're not paying the VAT on the goods. You're paying the VAT on the haulage side of things, and the haulage side of things is not zero rated because they're going to have to pay VAT. They charge everybody who puts a truck in charges VAT. So I think I'm with you on this one, but I'm not an accountant. So if anybody knows a VAT specialist or anyone who can help Rosh out there, please get in the comments. Anything that any cases that anyone knows that can help him, if we can, and I'll get the stuff sent across to the guy. Got a drink in that time. It's cold. Brian Webb 191 says, I was on weight limits. He said, I said about bridges. I'm kind of at the answer anyway. Goes on plated weight, not unladen weight of the vehicle. So if you are in an 18 tonne and you drive over 7.5 tonne limit, or even if you are empty and your vehicle weighs 7.5 tonne, you're still in the wrong place. Godzilla says, and then, just a little catch up on the wise guys and how they're doing. Godzilla is still at the airport. Days consist of not hitting aircraft. Doubly so when you have to skim a Rolls Royce engine or 747, as the fuel panels are above the engine. You can pick a second hand one up for 11 million quid. That's cheaper than the curtains then. Found out how to socialise with people once more, and that everyone's got a cough or a cold and they're happy to share it. That's nice, lovely. I'd forgotten when it's just myself in a Merc on the open road and you never get the lurgy. I never get sick, it's true. Interesting. I always think it's because I was a market trader, I was always outside, and now I'm in a lorry, I don't encounter people. Or maybe I'm just fit. That's not true. Interesting thing to note of, the bridges who drop off the fuel at the farm are having a 20% pay increase, so bringing their wage to £62,000 a year. It's that I'm in the wrong job. I get a day in lieu on a bank holiday. They get £907 a day. Yeah, we're all in the wrong job there, mate. And finally on to the miscellaneous. Remember my pen today. User WY says, Pete, I watch most of your videos. I'm not sure how I would have managed to start without your videos, to be honest. Oh, mate, that's fine, don't worry about it. I have done a few jobs now, but no feedback. Could you explain on the app or the desktop how to chase up feedback? CX have wrote to me briefly to explain how it is. There is a video on feedback. The best thing to do, really, in a nutshell, is... when you've done the job, don't hassle them. When you've done a job, if you've done a job, it's everything lovely and all that, either drop them a text or drop them a phone call to turn around and say, I've done that job. I hope everything was fine. You know, all sorted, no problems whatsoever. If you can, could you please leave us a bit of positive feedback? Because I'm new to this and I need to get it started. You'll probably get 3 out of 10 will do it. It's not always the most important thing. The 3 categories you need to consider to get a job: price, location, and feedback. And feedback is probably the least important, although it is important. And also, it might help at the beginning if you ring them and say, listen, I'll put in a slightly cheaper bid, only slightly cheaper than what you would normally do it for. And go, listen, I'm new to this. I'm trying to make my own way. I'll give you a cheap bid because I want to get running. If you're prepared to give me a chance, I'll be very, very grateful. And if you come across people will help. You know, ask for people's help, they will help you. Good luck. Douglas Lindsay Gray says, oh, this was to do with the fact not stopping in time on the card again. He said, the police will say you should have stopped earlier, no matter what you come across, an accident, a traffic jam. I know. The truth of the matter is that with that one is, if you get stopped and you've got infringements all over the shop on your card, they're going to throw the book at you. If you couldn't stop that day and they look in the card over the last 28 days, you're absolutely green, you're going to go, mate, I had a nightmare. They're going to go, all right, fair enough. Everybody, you can make a mistake sometimes. Everybody makes a mistake sometimes, and they're human beings. They will accept that. Depending on which one you get, some are going to be different to others. But they are human beings, but they're going to look very differently on you if you've got a whole red card, like a warning lights going on and bells, as opposed to I made a minor mistake. You know, you're human beings. We got to get on with each other. And a few from Dunny Hutton at the end. He says, "May I ask why you use 2 sat navs at the same time?" I use one, which is the car one, which is best for traffic, and I use one, which is the truck one, which is so that I can, which is best for weights and bridges and all that restriction. So depending whether I'm doing motorways or whether I'm doing country roads, depends on which one I pay attention to the most. Danny and also says, because he was on Google, but he's now on Waze. I find Waze to be the best traffic one, yeah. And he said, what camera mic do you use? I know you're hungry. I know, I'm nearly finished. Go away. He says, okay, it's just in fairness, it's just the camera on the front of the Z3. There are better cameras on the back, but the front one I can see what I'm doing. And the mic, I forget I got it off Amazon, and I should have plugged it in. I forgot. It's just because it does make the sound quality better. It's like 30 quid, 20 quid, just plugs in the bottom. It's like a USB-C plugs in the bottom. There are plenty out there. And finally, in conclusion this week, before I go and melt my guns, Steve Campbell says, I'll come and do a week for you. Steve, I will bear that in mind, my friend. You're miles away. I'm not going to ask you to relocate down to Dunstable. You live in Newcastle. But whoever knows, mate. If I ever take the firm that far north, I'll certainly be in touch. And Philip Maud said, who's the boss in your house? Well, I have a boss. We're a workers' cooperative. We all make our decisions together. We sit and we discuss and we work out the best way forward. Having said that, I'm the one that brings in all the money. So if if a decision has to be made, it's often down to me, or whether basically they look at me saying, "Can we afford it or not?" and I just go yes or no. Having said that, I have a very stoic attitude to life, which is kind of, if we go on holiday and there are 3 bedrooms, I'll take the worst one, because I want everybody else to have the best. If I'm in here and everybody else is, if I need to make a video and everyone's in here, I don't go, right, okay, you've all got to disappear for an hour. I'll go sit in the shed, or I'll go sit in the van, because that's just the way I am. I'd rather get everybody else sorted. I can always find my own way, so, but yeah. So there you go. So, right, I'm going to go and repair the lorry. I'm probably, oh God, let's hope we get it back right. I found parking for it as well. It's going to cost me 4 times as much money. It's super duper secure, guard dogs, lights, CCTV that actually works. But I thought I say it might be temporary. But anyway, I've got to go and meet Al. So I'll probably tape it all, stick it out, and then we'll have a proper discussion about it last week. But finally, thanks very much for all your help, support, and advice. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Take care. Take money.